What is going on, y'all? Gamers Goon here today with your Friday morning post day one March Madness recap. We will be doing one tomorrow. We'll be doing one Saturday, Sunday, I guess Sunday, Monday. Mornings, you feel the vibe. And yesterday we got March Madness started, right? And we really didn't have much fireworks, and it makes me a little cautious for today. We'll talk about today after I'm done talking about the games here. But we started off the day on a relatively poor note, in my opinion. Creighton versus Louisville. Creighton kept this pretty much just past arm's length the whole time. They got an early lead. Louisville would fight back for a little bit, maybe make it close to 12, 10-point game. And then Creighton would blow up the lead again to like an 18, 19-pointer. And then Louisville would fight back, and then it would be the same thing. Louisville really never got going. Creighton won 89-75. We did not expect that. That was somewhat of an upset. No fireworks there, though. There was 45% of people that took Creighton to win that game. No fireworks, really. Shocking in terms of we thought Louisville could make a run, beat that Auburn team. Creighton was the team to do it. They looked really good. Shout out to Jemiah Neal. Really, really good game from him. I think he was kind of the X factor in that game. Obviously, when you're playing Creighton, you got the two top guys. You got Kalkbrenner, you got Ashworth as the guys you got to look out for. Jemiah Neal, though, 29 points, 12 rebounds, 6 assists. Shout out to Jemiah Neal. He scores 12 a game, so over doubled his season average. Shout out to Jemiah Neal. Real fun watching him yesterday. Then we got the High Point versus Purdue. This was one that stuck close for a while. It was close for a while. Purdue ultimately won this game by 12, 75-63. High Point kept themselves in this game. They kept themselves in this game. 2-point game at the end of the second half in terms of second half scoring, but 10-point lead going into half for Purdue was enough. They stuck in there with the second half. High Point did. Wasn't enough. A lot of firepower there, but ultimately you saw them struggle to guard Trey Kaufman-Renn, who wound up with 21 points. Camden Heide with 11 points, and then obviously Braden Smith with 20 as well. So big game there for Trey Kaufman-Renn. You had Heide step up. Didn't really think Heide was in the cards for that game, but he was. Purdue able to hold off a very good High Point team that I think against a lot of other teams might have been able to pull off the upset. And one of the teams that I think they could have done it against is Wisconsin. Wisconsin was the next one. They were in a 13-14 game. And Montana kept it respectable at first. 8-point game at halftime. Looked like maybe they could fight back. They cut it down a few times. And then in the second half, it really started to get away from them. And Wisconsin won 85-66, 21-point victory there. 19-point victory there. Wisconsin, a really, really good team at the moment. You look at Wisconsin, they were led the way by Stephen Crowell and John Blackwell. Those two guys both putting up 18+, Blackwell with 19. Really good performance from them, and we were worried a little bit about if Montana would be able to handle the upper echelon of talent that they would be going up against with the Big Ten teams and with SEC teams or whatever. Wisconsin's one of those top teams. Didn't work too well in the second half for them. Then I didn't even watch this one. I'm going to be honest, I didn't even watch this one. Houston versus SIU Edwardsville. For like 1 minute, it was close, and then it wasn't. Milos Uzan, 16 points. I caught the end of, maybe it was halftime. Halftime, they were interviewing Milos Uzan, 16 points from him. LJ Cryer, 15. Terrence Archino averaging 7 a game with 10. And then you got Javier Francis averaging 5 a game with 13 and 8. All around good performance against SIU Edwardsville. Did not allow the upset to happen. Just handled business early. Didn't even let anybody think about it. Then we're going to talk about a team that didn't really handle business early. 10-point halftime lead for Auburn, but it felt like at moments Alabama State might be able to get into this game. It was close for a little bit. Auburn did eventually just run away with it towards the end of the first half, and then in the second half, another 10-point victory in the second half. Alabama State, you put up a good effort, but Auburn, too much to handle there. Auburn, I wasn't super impressed with them for letting Alabama State hang in with them as long as they did, but they won the game. McNeese State with the first big upset of the day. I wouldn't really call it a major upset because I feel like a lot of people were circling this game based off that team last year, McNeese. Clemson coming in with an injury. Ultimately, though, I was shocked because you had Dylan Hunter injured, obviously, but I was shocked. The first half, the score was 31-13, and it was McNeese up, an 18-point lead at half. The game ended 69-67. Now, I want to talk about the reffing. Why would you call a technical foul when somebody bumps into somebody and the guy that he bumps into starts talking to him? And then, to follow that up, in other games, there was a lot more demonstrative stuff being said towards the refs that don't get called. So the reffing, very soft technical. That might have been the difference in that 2 points there for Clemson. But McNeese State, shout out to them. Shout out to Amir. Shout out to Copeland. Shout out to Shoemate. All those guys, really, really good game. Shoemate was really fun to watch. Going up, getting some rebounds, putting it back off the board. Copeland, you could tell he's kind of the leader. He's kind of quarterbacking this team for them. He finished with 16, 7, and 5, so he's somebody that was flirting, not super close to it with the 5 assists, but flirting with a full stat line to possibly get up there to a triple-double. Copeland, really, really good game from him. Liked what I saw, and he's somebody, I don't know if he has extra years or what year he's in, but he's somebody that you could expect. He probably makes the jump to a bigger school. Now, I don't know if that's with their coach to NC State or where they would go. But there's a few players on this McNeese team that I just see they could be impact players at bigger teams. So we'll see in the transfer portal once this thing's said and done what guys that the Copelands, the Shoemates, what they do. I think there was one more on this McNeese team that really surprised me. Yeah, Brandon Murray, 21 points, 10 for 18 from the field. Good game from him as well. Then we get to BYU VCU. This one was kept at arm's length pretty much the whole time. 11-point lead in the first half for BYU. And then VCU won the second half by 2. VCU, tough team. Zeb Jackson with 23, but you look at BYU, we kind of knew that the size was going to be a little bit of a problem here. You got Yegor Dimon, who's like a 6'8", 6'9" point guard. They got Moat Mag, who is in his own right 6'7". Richie Saunders, I don't believe he's 6'5". Kiba Keita, he's 6'8". I mean, and he's super athletic. He had some highlight blocks in this game, so shout out to Kiba Keita. He's one of the main reasons why I'm a big fan of this BYU team. I think just him protecting the rim and then getting a highlight dunk here and there off an alley-oop, that's going to be enough to bring some energy to this team. And a team that can get hot from 3, you need the crowd to be behind you if you're one of those teams that can get hot. BYU, I think, has the recipe to do that, so they will be going on to the next round. Georgia-Gonzaga. Didn't watch much of this game. I only watched it during halftime of one game, I believe. I tuned in, and the score was like 27-3. 27-3. It wasn't pretty. Asa Newell, 20 points for them. Khalif Battle, 24 for Gonzaga. Gonzaga handled business. Braden Huff with 18. Nolan Hickman with 18. Graham Ike, sorry if I'm mispronouncing, however you pronounce it. 13 points. Gonzaga just completely handled business. Wasn't even a problem for them. Then we go to the night recap. Tennessee versus Wofford. Shout out to my boy Cam. But Tennessee handled business. They handled business. 77-62. 62 for Wofford is a lot closer than I thought they'd play against Tennessee, to be honest with you. I thought Tennessee might win this game like 82-48 or something like that. But Wofford kept it respectable. 15's not bad against a team like Tennessee that's a top 10 team in the country. But they handled business. Tennessee handled business. Then another little bit of a shocker here. Arkansas beating Kansas. Bill Self falling out to Calipari. Arkansas, 79-72. In this game for Kansas, there was so much questionable things going on with Kansas. Towards the end, it was close. It was like a 3-point, 4-point, 5-point game, maybe. I don't know. And they had about a minute left, and Hunter Dickinson shot a 3. Why is Hunter Dickinson the guy shooting a 3 when you have Zeke Mayo on the court? AJ Storr, who's having one of his better games. He had 15 points. He's one of his better games in a Kansas jersey. They did lose KJ Adams at one point. He went out with injury, and I think that's really where it changed for them. But why is Hunter Dickinson shooting the 3 late in the game? Very poor decision from Hunter Dickinson. I don't know what he's shooting on the season. Yeah, 28% on the season. Yeah, that's the guy. That's the guy I want shooting the clutch shot right there. That's really the guy. Shout out to Hunter Dickinson. Is his college career over? I don't like him because he went to Michigan, and then I wanted to see this Kansas team continue to go. I like the talent on Kansas. It's just not a big fan of Hunter Dickinson. And of course, Hunter Dickinson is the one to shoot a late 3 that I think kind of tanked Kansas's ability to win the game. Zeke Mayo, we like him. AJ Storr, we wanted him at Illinois. Down year for him, but we like him, right? I don't know what's going on there. Kansas, disappointed, honestly. Yale versus A&M. Yale kept it close. 9-point game. Kept it respectable. 23 points for John Palakidis. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing it. Nick Townsend, 15 for Yale, but 25 points from Pharrell Payne, averaging 10 a game. Big game, double-double for him. You got Wade Taylor going for 16 here for A&M, and I think they just completely dominated. They won the rebound game by 7. Won the steal game by 3. Had 3 more blocks. Turned it over 2 times as less. A&M played a gritty game. Yale played a respectable game, but A&M coming out on top, as we all thought they might. Whoa. I bumped into the laptop. Wow. Drake versus Missouri. Drake versus Missouri was the next one. And this one got really nerve-wracking. Drake up 7 at halftime. And this got close for a minute. Drake able to fend him off. Won by 3 in the second half. So they ultimately won by 10. But they were struggling. Where's the guy? Yeah. Tavion Banks. A career 70% free throw shooter. At least this season. Went 5 for 11 at the line. Was almost letting Missouri back into this game. But he scored 15. Shout out to him. 9 rebounds. He was really important for them to win this game, obviously. Or, my bad, he was 5 for 11 on the field. 5 for 10 from free throw. Very important for them to win the game. You got Cam Manuel. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing that. Career 48% free throw shooter. Went 1 for 5. They left points at the line is what I'm getting at. They were 12 from 24 at the free throw line. Very poor free throw shooting, and Missouri 23 for 26. So Drake, you got to fix that free throw shooting. You really do. If you're shooting 50% for the rest of the tournament, you ain't gonna go very far. But shout out to Drake. They did pretty well. Banks, like I said, pretty good game. Bennett Sturts really stuffed the scoreboard here. 21 points off of 11 shots, 8 for 11 from the field, 2 for 2 at the line, 3 for 3 from 3, a steal. Also, shout out to Banks, 3 steals, 3 blocks. Really, really good defense there from Banks. But we kind of talked about Bennett Sturts being that guy that maybe could be one of our tournament darlings, and so far he has been. He really showed up, really took over that game, and there was points in that game where I'm just like, get the ball to Bennett. Get the ball to Bennett. He's clearly the best player on the court. In a game where he's playing up against an SEC team in Missouri that's been a top 25 team for some of the year, Bennett Sturts was the best player on that court. That's really impressive from him. I'd expect him to make a jump to a bigger team than Drake in the next year. If he does, and that's the thing with some of these guys, I don't know how much eligibility they have. He's from Liberty, Missouri, by the way. But I'd expect him to make a jump away from Drake, enter the portal, or the draft, or whatever. I don't expect to see him at Drake next year. Really, really good player there from Drake. And then probably the same with Banks. Banks impressed me. I don't know what he scores on the season. 10 points. 10 points on the season. Averaging under 20 minutes a game. Wow. But yeah, Drake, team that I think might be able to win their next round matchup. Utah State versus UCLA. UCLA handled business. I didn't watch a single minute of this game. I looked at halftime. They were up 12. They won the second half by 13, 72-47. Not much there, but we will give out player shout-outs. It looks for Utah State, Mason Falsalev, 6 for 17 from the field. Not great shooting, but he did end up with 17 and 10, double-double there. And then you got Dayton Albury. 12 points off 12 shots. Really, that's all I can highlight there for Utah State. And then we had, Billadou for UCLA, 9 and 7. Not as great of a game from him as you'd expect. Sky Clark. Somewhere down there is a Sky Clark jersey. Somewhere around here is a Sky Clark jersey. But former Illini, 14 points, 5 for 8 from the field. Pretty good from Sky. Eric Daly, 14 points, leading the way with Sky Clark. 5 for 11 from the field. And then you got Ade Mara with 10 as well. Pretty all-around game there for UCLA. Omaha versus St. John's. I'm going to tell you the first half score. First half score, 33-28. Omaha led a decent portion of the first half. They did. But Pitino and company figured it out. They figured it out halftime. They won the second half by 25, 50-25. 83-53 win. Omaha, you put up a good effort. I'm going to be honest. You put up a good effort. And there's a lot of teams in this tournament that if you played like you did in the first half, I think you could have beat. But you matched up against St. John's. You matched up against Pitino. Like, if that team that Omaha had was playing Clemson, I think they would also beat Clemson. Clemson's first half was terrible. They were terrible. But Omaha, you ran into St. John's. It's unfortunate. 30-point loss. I'm so glad I got this game right. I'm so glad. Everybody was picking UC San Diego to be the big upset, and they almost did it. I was watching the end of this game, 3-point game. Michigan wins. UC San Diego late. So they had their best player, Anawanya Tate Jones. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing that. He didn't really do much. He had 7 points. He fouled out. But he is the guy that scores 19 a game for him. Michigan limited him. Tyler McGee scored 25 for UC San Diego. Norden Kapich had 15. Hayden Gray with 10. Who was the guy there at the end for him? They were going to one player specifically once Tate Jones fouled out. Let's see here. It was it Rochlin? I don't think it was Rochlin. It was McGee. Yeah, Tyler McGee. They leaned on him. They leaned on him late. And he delivered. he delivered. He made this game very respectable. Made it a 3-point game. Had a chance to win the game. Michigan able to fend him off. Big time 3 late in the game from Trey Donaldson. UC San Diego went up. Trey Donaldson hit a 3. They never looked back. They kept the lead since then. Roddy Gale with 11 in this game. Danny Wolf, not a great game offensively, 9 points, but he did have 11 rebounds, which we thought would probably happen. Vlad Golden with 14. We were really... I was convinced of myself that this would be a Danny Wolf and Vlad Golden game where they'd have to lead the way and be the offensive weapons and have to get 15, 20 points in this game, and they held them both under 15. UC San Diego did a really good job. It's just they were out at the they fell late. They almost had it, but they didn't. And Michigan, part of that was they were up 14 in the first half. UC San Diego won the second half by 11 points. So, Michigan, you're looking real rough going into that A&M game, just saying. And this is another one. I was actually really surprised. Texas Tech, we like Texas Tech. We like JT Toppin. And this guy, Elijah Hawkins, one more rebound, and he would have had a triple-double. 14, 9, and 10 from him. A lot of work at the free throw line for Hawkins. 82-72 game, though. NC Wilmington, they were led by Nolan Hodge with 18 points. He averages 7 on the season, so really good game from him. But for Texas Tech, it was led by Kerwin Walton, 27 big points there for him. He averages 6 on the season. Huge time step up from him. JT Toppin with a double-double as well, and then you had Darian Williams with 13 and 9. So a few guys flirting with some double-doubles, triple-doubles. Texas Tech, you kept it scary. UNC Wilmington, shout out for them. Once again, a team that could have faced a lot of other teams in this. If either Omaha or... I don't know about Omaha, but if UNC Wilmington played Michigan, I think they might have won. But unfortunately, they didn't get the Michigan draw. They got the Texas Tech draw, and they lost. But that leads us into today. We're not going to talk about today, obviously, the games. We've talked about them many times on the channel. But we will talk about the matchups that we will see next round. McNeese State versus Purdue. The way McNeese State played earlier yesterday, I think they're going to give Purdue some problems. Will they beat Purdue? I don't know. I think I'm still taking Purdue because of Trey Kaufman and Braden Smith, but McNeese State does pose a unique threat to Purdue because I think the best athletes on the court are on McNeese State's side. I love watching Shoemate fly through the air and getting some rebound putback dunks. It was really exciting. Like, one of those in that Purdue game, that whole crowd's going to erupt. McNeese State getting up in them defensively. You got Copeland out there pressuring Braden Smith. McNeese State might be upset alert number 2 of the tournament. Arkansas versus St. John's, not too excited about this one. I imagine this is going to be similar to the first one. Arkansas will keep close in the first half. St. John's will start locking in defensively. Arkansas won't be able to handle it. Arkansas will lose. But I didn't give any Arkansas shout-outs, did I? Arkansas, I did give some Kansas shout-outs. Shout-out to Jonas Adu, 22 points. John L. Davis with 18. DJ Wagner with 14. Trevion Bazile with 11. So, those are their guys that you're going to have to watch out for. But I think St. John's will do a good job of defending them. But maybe this is where St. John bows out. Historically, defensive teams haven't been great in March Madness, so maybe this is where they bow out. Michigan versus A&M. If that Michigan team that played against UC San Diego is the team that's going to play against A&M, where they're just relying on their size, it ain't going to work. A&M, the more physical team, one of the better rebounding teams in the country. You're not going to get second chance opportunities. You're going to need Danny Wolf and Vlad Golden to do a little bit more than combine for 23 points. Just a little bit more. A&M wins if that is the Michigan team we get. Drake versus Texas Tech. This one's going to be fun. That Drake team is better than that UNC Wilmington team. But defensively, Texas Tech has guys that can lock up Bennett Sturts, or at least attempt to lock up Bennett Sturts. And once you take out Bennett Sturts from being a factor, who do I like in that game? Probably Texas Tech. Creighton versus Auburn. I've been telling myself this Auburn team is just not good. They handled business, but they were sliding at the end of the year. They had the Tennessee loss. They barely beat Ole Miss. They lost to Alabama. They lost to A&M. Didn't end the year hot. But I've been saying this about Creighton all season. Creighton, St. John's lost. They lost to Xavier at one point. UConn they lost to. Marquette, Georgetown, who's not even in the tournament. Bama, obviously. A&M, San Diego State, Nebraska. This is a Creighton team that just is not consistent enough to beat a team like Auburn. I'm got to rock with Auburn. BYU versus Wisconsin. I'm already telling you, I love watching BYU play. You got to get Keba Keita with a big highlight play, get the energy flowing in that arena. That will then lead to some Richie Saunders threes. Jaeger Dimon, don't turn the ball over, and BYU wins the game. Gonzaga versus Houston. Oh my goodness. Houston, I am sorry. For your draw. I really am. I apologize. Houston, in my analytical bracket that I put in all the brackets that have a prize, which I didn't have to pay any pains, but there are brackets that have prizes, right? I put the Houston bracket in it. The Houston bracket, because I thought they had the best chance, right? I tried to use analytics and all that stuff, and I don't think it worked out. My max points is still good, but I tried to leverage players and stuff, didn't work out. My max points is still good, so if everything else goes correct, we're in play. But I have Houston as my national champions. And the Gonzaga team that showed up against Georgia. And I know Houston handled business. The Gonzaga team that showed up against Georgia. Houston, you got your work cut out for you. You really do. I'm gonna rock with Houston because they were my pick in my analytical bracket or whatever. You got your work cut out with you with Gonzaga. UCLA versus Tennessee. UCLA handled business. I'm going to be honest. UCLA went in there and handled business. Tennessee let a Wofford team play close to them. Not necessarily in danger of losing, but they didn't handle business as great as UCLA did. UCLA, I think a lot of it's going to be if you can get that big man going. Bilodeau, if he gets going, UCLA is on upset alert. But I'm going to rock with Tennessee. I'm going to rock with my boy Cam because as of right now, Illinois is still in the tournament, and I do want to see that Illinois and Tennessee rematch because we should have won. But our defense collapsed at the end of the game. Anyways, thank you for watching, and I will see you all tomorrow.